Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, with me, King's Ransom. So in the last time I did the tutorial level, running around as a character who will be important later, doing some stuff. We'll talk about the story a bit more once we have a bit more worth talking about. I created my character and accidentally hit go before starting the recording here, so here we go, cutscene time. Yeah, that's my main character there with the really badass scar over the eye, just like Auron from Final Fantasy X.
Join the honorable Duke's ranks and help us be rid of the fell beast. The day's come to lay down rod and reel and take up the sword.
So, we live here in this fishing town, and the Duke, who's in charge of this area, this country, whatever, is gathering people to fight the dragon. The dragon has returned. That is important. We'll learn a bit more about the dragon later. But they're recruiting some people to take up arms, join the militia. And guess who shows up to crash the party? Yep. Dragon. Same dragon, or looks the same as the dragon that fell from the sky back at the end of the tutorial level. And boy, are those soldiers useless. Their goal is to fight the dragon. So what happens when the dragon shows up? They drop their swords and run. Oh, man. Luckily, I'm here, though. So, of course, I grab a sword right away and gonna go start hacking away at that dragon. That is a nasty-looking creature. Alright, so we're just going to run over here and kind of hack away at his legs a little bit with the sword that I picked up. Seems like a good strategy. Alright, that's not doing anything, so I'm going to try climbing up on him and attacking his ankle a little bit. There we go. So, more cutscenes. As you might expect from a fisher woman in this fishing village here, just kind of picking up a sword and hacking away at the dragon. Not really going to do much to the dragon. But I think we did get the dragon's attention, at least. Some people might argue that that's a bad thing, but you know, in this case, maybe it's a good thing. Gets the story moving a little bit, gives us a bit of a plot. So, we can't understand what the dragon is saying. This game does have a New Game Plus mode where you can play the second time after you've finished it once. I believe in the second run-through you can actually understand the dragon's words here. I could be mistaken in that, but I believe that to be the case. So the dragon is going to go ahead and explode our chest here, and game over. That was fun. Oh, and he's pulling at our heart. Our heart, which is still beating. And apparently all that was just so the dragon could eat our heart, but not eat the rest of us. So that seems kind of silly. I thought dragons typically ate people. Cool, Dragon's Dogma. There's our little title splash. Now our friend comes over to check on us.
She's still alive!
And in some weird fantasy, science fiction-y twist, we're still alive, even though we don't have a heart. So that's kind of the central conceit of the game, is we want to go kill that dragon to get our heart back. We'll learn a bit more about that and the implications of us not having a heart as the story goes on. So yeah, we can hear and kind of understand the dragon's voice now when we try to touch our scar on our chest.
Take up arms, newly arisen.
Yep, so we are arisen. We were kind of killed by the dragon, had our heart stolen, and now we're still alive. So we are arisen, kind of like a title for a legendary warrior who slayed the dragon in the past. Again, all of that stuff will be covered in a bit more detail later on in the game as we learn more of what's going on. So now we get to take up arms. This is a fairly significant choice. This picks our starting class, our starting vocation, as they refer to in this game. And they all have different abilities, and these are not the only vocations in the game. There are more of them later on. I'll go ahead and explain a little bit about the vocation system kind of once we get rolling here. But for now, these first three are your three basic classes. Fighter, kind of a stereotypical class, should be familiar to anyone who's ever played any sort of RPG before, right? They use swords and shields. Melee specialist, kind of a typical knight class. Yeah. So, basic vocation, a melee specialist with attacks and counterattacks able to cut through any resistance. So they're going to be very focused on heavy physical damage. Strider, kind of a generic rogue type of class. They use daggers and bows. So this nimble warrior can both mount and attack foes and use a bow to strike from afar. So, excellent close range against large enemies, excellent long range when they have a bow. And then the mage, your stereotypical mage class. Basic vocation, a conjurer of magics to heal wounds and target elemental weaknesses. So mages in this game can both heal and do offense. Like, you don't have to split out between black mage and white mage, or like priest and wizard or anything like that. It's kind of an all-in-one package for now, for this mage. There are advanced versions of each of the classes, and there's hybrids, so there's going to be other classes that we'll encounter later. For now, I'm going to go ahead and start with the mage. I'm not really planning on sticking with the mage, but this does give us a bit of a bonus to our starting stats. So we will start with a higher magic stat than we would otherwise have. And I have a couple of basic, really silly, useless attacks here. So I can swing this around. I'm going to go ahead and break open some of these items because there is going to be some random stuff that we can pick up here. Extra money and some items for healing and whatnot, all going to be good to have. Oh, and then my light attack, I shoot these little magic orb things. They don't do a whole heck of a lot of damage, but, you know, I'm a mage. Doing damage with my basic melee attack and stuff is not really the point. The point is going to be when I do stuff like this. Fireballs. Boom. So we'll be seeing a fair bit more of that to come. So I'm not planning on sticking with the mage class for very long, but for your first like 10 levels or so in the game, you get a massive increase to your stat growth, and different stats will grow depending on which class you are. So here's the village elder and our friend talking about how we're still alive, but we don't have a heart, and that's kind of creepy.
Yes.
Ill magic, the work of some curse.
See, the elder thinks maybe we're cursed.
Mad for fear of this dragon. Won't no good come of this. I must go see to the others, Kina. Tell me if what changes here.
So they're a little bit freaked out by the fact that we don't have a heart, which, I mean, is understandable. I'm a little freaked out by that as well. That's kind of a vital part of the body to have. kind of a necessity, you might say. Alright, getting a few more items. I'm going to go ahead and take a flask of oil. Yeah, the problem with starting as a mage is we're not adept at breaking open stuff and stealing things. Nobody in this game really minds if you loot their homes for whatever weird reason. I'm going to go and grab all of this stuff. You can pick up all sorts of useless items. The bucket, the broom. The green warish there that I just picked up is an herb that will heal us. A little bit of health recovery, which will be very, very handy to have. We'll be picking a lot more of those. There's a lot of scavenging and item hunting in the game, you'll see. Luckily, we'll have some minions to assist us with that later on, but for now, just going to run around and grab all the stuff. If it's not directly, immediately useful for me, it will at least be something that I can sell later, and that'll be good. So we're going to need to get some starting equipment right away. So yeah, primary goals. I would like to get a better staff. We have, let's take a look at what we got equipped right now. So here we can see all of our junk that we have equipped. Weapon, we have a rusted staff. Pretty useless. We're wearing our fisherman... No, we're not wearing our fisherman's tatters. We have our plebeian shirt, which not really going to be very helpful. Cloth greaves. You know, not doing well in terms of defensive equipment. Now I'm going to go ahead and explore a little bit. This game does very much encourage exploration. There's a lot of stuff to find off the beaten path, and you know, good way to get items to handle quests. See, here we go. I hopped over the edge, kind of ran around the cliffside here, and we got a bunch of treasure chests full of some good equipment for us to start with. Extra coins, which is fantastic. A Seeker's Token. Those will be useful later. There's some quests or something, I believe. I'm going to break open these crates. Nothing inside of those. That's okay, though. The $1,000 is going to be very helpful. There's an invisible wall over here preventing me from going any further this way, so, you know, the game does have a few of those. But we can hop down here, keep going down. There's going to be a little grave here, and we can scavenge this, get some extra items. There's also a pretty extensive crafting system in this game. Not for necessarily making any new items, but a lot for helping you upgrade your equipment. So you can upgrade all your armor and all your weapons and stuff. So that's going to be pretty nice. Let's see if I can hit that bird. Awesome. So he dropped... Oh, nope, there's just... Maybe he dropped it. I don't know. So yeah, going to be running around here. Picking up some fish. Meat will help you recover your stamina. So let's talk about that a little bit. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see there's a mini-map. Rotates around, shows me what's going on. There's a red circle in there that's kind of indicating the direction of... the quest that I'm on. So, story stuff, head that way. So that's the only quest that I have right now. So, that is going to be good. And then there's the green bar with the number 410. That is our health. That is clearly going to be very, very important for us. The red bar underneath it is our stamina meter. So, the stamina, which meat like fish or the scrag of beast that we got earlier, will help us recover our stamina. And stamina is essentially your mana or your ability to do things in the game. So that controls your attacks. It influences your ability to do magic. Magic takes stamina. So you saw when I cast the fireball there, I lost a little bit of stamina. Being able to sprint, all that sort of thing will consume stamina. Out in the field, at least. Right now, we're in town, so it's going to be a bit less restrictive with what we can do. So, alright, got a bunch of fish. I'm probably not going to end up actually using the fish. I'm probably going to end up selling it at some point. Like I said, money is pretty important to me early on. And we're not going to be in any really nasty fights or anything, so I'm not expecting to need a bunch of the stamina. Now, there, the thing that just popped up and said light. You do have some weight management to deal with in this game, some inventory management. I'm not calling anybody fat there when I say weight management. Inventory management, so items will all have weights associated with them. You have only so much that you can carry. And, you do move slower when you start to become more and more burdened, more encumbered in the game. So that's stuff to keep in mind and to to deal with in the game also. So the last thing down there on the left in the HUD I didn't talk about, and you'll notice my character's a little bit wet. That's your status effects. So right now my character is soggy. I got in the water. I got all wet. I will move a bit slower, especially if I have heavier equipment on. Doesn't really impact me too much right now because I don't have a whole lot of equipment. I'm just kind of wearing just some standard clothes. Ooh, mushroom tea. But, like if you have let's say like a lantern equipped so that you can see, maybe you're in a cave or something, and you get wet, then, it'll put out the fire of the lantern. You have to wait until you dry off before you can use it again. Stuff like that. Some of the other status effects will have a bit more impact in, say, combat. A good example is being oiled. So if you're doused in oil, then you're very easy to ignite. Enemies can light you on fire pretty quickly and easily. Same applies the other way, though. You can light enemies on fire. Like in the tutorial level when I was fighting the Chimera, we doused it in oil and then we lit it on fire, and that's kind of what happened towards the end of that fight there. Same thing can happen to us. Being damp, not a huge problem. You just kind of run around a bunch and you'll dry off, just like in real life. So I believe this is our shop.
You look well, child.
Yeah, so this is our starting shop here. So I can maybe buy some a little bit of clothing or armor. This is the tailor, not just the shop. So I can upgrade maybe some better armor. I believe.
You look well. Take care.
I believe there's someone here who will sell us like a weapon, a better weapon.
It's a myth. I only wish I
Yeah, here we go. So there's a few things I want to buy. I do want to buy a pickaxe that'll let us mine for some materials later on. That'll be important. We have a lantern already. We have 2 airtight flasks. You can see where it says amount, colon, and then a number. That's how many you have in your inventory. And I think it adds up the inventory of your party as well. I'm not too worried about anything else at the moment. A wood staff would be... yeah, sure, we'll do that. It would be kind of helpful. Not terribly much so, but it's better than what we have now. And then, so maybe we'll get some armor, and I'll talk a bit about the armor here. There's 2 types for most of your different body parts. So for torso armor, you can see traveler's shirt, and then kind of bottom right-ish, you can see it says clothing, and then it shows the grid of 9 doodads on there. So that grid of 9 is the classes that can use this piece of equipment. So Faded Vest here I cannot use. You'll see it has the red symbol next to it indicating I can't equip it. And then the grid, it's only highlighting 4 of the 9 classes. So that means that basically fighters and fighter hybrids are the only ones who can equip this. That's what the red indicates. Those are all the symbols for the different classes. I am a mage right now, so I would probably be better off with like the shabby robe. So you'll notice that this is armor. So you can equip 1 piece of armor and 1 piece of clothing for each slot that will let you do so. So I'm probably going to go ahead and buy this. That'll give me a decent boost to my defense. And then for clothes, probably a traveler's shirt. Probably not. I have something equipped for clothes right now. I think it'd be more important to have... We're going to go with wooden bands for hand armor, because I don't have anything equipped in that slot right now. And then clothing, probably, let's see. We'll get some shoes. Not a huge boost to our defense, but it will give us some extra magic defense. We're not going to be running into any magical creatures for a while here. Let's see, and then I think I'm going to go with Traveler's Tights for my other piece of equipment on my legs there. So I'm going to go ahead and buy all that stuff, and then we got to equip it all. I'm going to go through all this stuff on screen for now, but in the future I plan on doing a lot of my inventory management off camera, because it can get pretty tedious going through all this stuff. Especially when I get my pawn, my minion. We'll be running into that system soon, but it all have 2 inventories to manage, and buying stuff and selling stuff back, and it gets pretty gosh darn tedious. So, you know, if you'd like to see this sort of thing, that's awesome. Get used to not seeing it, because I am just not going to be doing this a whole lot. Sell back all this junk. Made back about $1,000, so not bad. All right, and now we look a bit more magey as well. We got the robe going on here. Awesome. Let's see. So yeah, where do I want to go? I'm gonna go ahead and come up here. We got to talk to the village elder, and a fun little incident is going to occur here. So creepy, glowing, dark vortex. Always a good sign in these sorts of games. And it spit out a person. A dude. That guy. He has a glowing thing on his hand. Okay, wonder what that's all about.
That man you are speaking with, he's of the Pawn Legion.
He's of the Pawn Legion.
They come from some unknown place.
So, if you recall from the tutorial,
strange lot.
we did have some pawns, some minions, come show up and assist us.
They have no capacity to feel nor act alone, so they live as
They're missing the spark that makes them human. They have no capacity to feel or act alone. They live as sellswords.
There's an encampment west of the village where men gather to face the dragon. I'd wager a fair number of his kind will be there as well.
A bunch of pawns.
Why don't you take him?
Yes, this is our first big real mission, is to take this dude who just showed up over to the encampment, maybe try to learn a bit more about the pawns. Pawns are a useful mechanic in the game because they are our minions.
Here in Cassidus will make for a safer trip to the encampment.
They join us, they fight with us. They're, you know, they're our party members. But more than just that, they are important to the story. They can carry their own equipment. They can act as pack mules and just carry a bunch of junk for me when I start to get overburdened. You can train them from, like, through your actions. They can evolve and kind of learn, change their inclination a little bit, change how they function in the world. And they can learn to do things like gather items for you. If they, so like you see Rook there just picked up a moldy berry, and a moldy apple. So good, he's finding all sorts of gross moldy foods, I guess. They're actually quite useful, and we're going to be dealing with the pawns quite a bit. Now before we take off, I'm going to head over here. So this is an inn.
How should I find you? Why not avail yourself of the inn to rest a while?
I don't exactly think there's a lot of stuff for us to loot here in the inn. Although I'm not positive on that front. Yeah, that's outside. Don't want to go there. I'm going to poke around a little tiny bit here.
Seems a fair place to rest.
And nothing of any real significance in here. Ah, kitchen. Herb, some steak, pumpkin, a knife. Okay, that was worthwhile. Oh, a fish. Oh man, look at all that good stuff.
A delicious aroma.
But the bounty board, this is the most important part. So this will give us a bunch of just kind of random, not random, but kind of a arbitrary go out and kill X number of this creature quests. So these are a good way to get money and experience, especially early on. So for example, you can see this one, reclaim the roads. Go out and kill 10 bandits, and we get some stilettos, so a new weapon that I'm not necessarily going to be using right away. But you get a weapon, you get 500 gold and 500 experience for completing each of these, just as a base. So go kill 10 goblins. This will give us a total of 2,000 gold, right? 1,500 for the reward specific to this quest, and then 500 for just the baseline, hey, you accomplished one of these low-level quests. So, slay 7 mice, slay 7 rabbits, 10 goblins, 10 bandits. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all these quests. There's never really a reason not to grab these quests. So I'm just going to load up on them. We could talk to this guy here, and we could rest a little while if we wanted to.
What can I do you for?
We can manage stored items, so these innkeepers also act kind of as banks. You can store items that you don't want cluttering up your inventory, maybe something that you don't want to equip now, or that you're going to want later. A good example is because you can change classes so fluidly in this game, then maybe you get an awesome set of equipment for your mage, but you decide that you want to go play as a different class for a while. You can store all your mage equipment there so it's not cluttering up your inventory, and then come back and pick it up later when you switch back to the mage class. We'll be making use of that later on in the game for pretty much that exact reason that I just mentioned, for switching classes. I am planning on showing off all the different classes at some point. I'm going to be leveling up as the mage for a little bit, first 10 to 15 levels or so, to boost my magic stat. As I mentioned earlier, your different stats grow at different rates depending on which class you are as you level up. So I plan on using magic a lot later in the game, so it's good to get these early boosts while I can. So this guy had a little green bubble above his head. That means he had a quest for us. He wants to talk to us.
I fear I cannot bring myself to face him.
He wants us to go take some bad news to another buddy of his.
His brother
Sure,
is dead.
I'll do that.
It happened on the shore a ways.
Oh, his brother died.
We were fleeing the worm, and Cortez leapt before the beast's talons to shield us.
Oh, so he sacrificed himself to save you.
I saw it. Saw him hurtling through the air. Saw him fall back to the ground. I did nothing. Just watched the poor man die.
Ah, so you feel guilty that you just let your friend die.
I cannot face Merin for the shame of it.
Yeah.
He deserves to know what happened, but please.
Okay. So that's a pretty easy quest. Just go track down that other guy and talk to him. This guy also has a quest for us.
In such times, I know. Might we speak my thanks? 'Tis
A sensitive matter.
In the wake of the dragon's coming, many of the villagers have come to offer prayers.
Villagers coming to offer
As a
prayers
novice
makes
in
sense,
new
right?
camp,
Times of
I
calamity,
welcome the chance
people
for heroes, but
get increasingly religious.
Sing.
Ah, as a novice and a newcomer,
I
you don't have your
yet to
scriptures
commit the
anymore.
verses to memory. Without the text, I cannot offer up a proper prayer. The
No shame in
scriptures
helping
were
this guy
secure
out.
in the chapel last I saw them. I do not wish to believe them stolen. If you come upon them, pray see them back to me. I would be ever in your debt.
Okay. Pretty easy. Just a little fetch quest. Go find this item and bring it back to the priest there. So, pretty straightforward. Oop. And again, people don't get mad when you loot their homes or their workplaces in this game, even though we're in a temple. That was 200 bucks, 200 pieces of gold. Not gonna frown on that.
I confess it. I took the father's book from the chapel.
And this quest just got a lot easier.
I tried
This
to go
guy
back and find
admits
the book,
to
but I
finding
was
or
in
to
such a
having
panic
stolen
as
the
I
book.
ran. I just wanted to look at it, just curious is all. Forgive me. I cannot remember where I lost it. I thought to
That
steal a glance and then
actually
return it,
doesn't
but
help.
the dragon came and I dropped it as I ran.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my quests here. Lost Faith, that's the one that we're on where we got to find the book.
Where could that book have gotten to?
So, as you see there, Rook is commenting on the quest, now that I have it selected as our active quest. Where could that book have gotten to? We should probably check a place where people rarely go. So, pawns, both your own pawn and any other pawns that you rent from other players, we'll talk about that more later on. But pawns can learn about quests from doing them. So, they can learn, what is required or just kind of some general guidance, offer up some tips and tricks. So you will need to search low and high. So he's kind of hinting at it and indicating, that maybe he knows a bit about what to do. He's pointing us in the right direction, that is for sure. So pawns can learn things like that. One of the mechanics of this game is, your own pawn can be put up kind of for rent, and other players can invite that pawn in and have them, you know, assist with things. And while that other player is using the pawns or with their own pawn, the pawns will learn, you know, about the areas. They'll learn about the maps, maybe where hidden secrets are. They can learn about. Trying to figure out where to go. There we go. They can learn about monsters' weaknesses. What are some of their nastier attacks? That sort of thing. Here's our book that we're after. And then when they join you, they can comment on those sorts of things, right? Like, he knew a little bit about the quest. Oh, we should probably look where people don't go. We should look high and low. So they can share that sort of information with you, and they can be pretty useful, although it can get a bit tedious when they repeat the same information over and over again. But generally, it's pretty helpful if you don't know a lot about what you're doing in this game.
To become part of this place, but now I can.
Okay, already heard all that. Here's your book.
The scriptures. You found them. Oh, Maker be praised. I
There you go.
cannot thank you enough.
You
Truly,
are
the
welcome.
people of Cassidus are a good-hearted bunch. Now I can once more offer proper prayer on behalf of the village. But I have dallied long enough. There is work for me to do.
Awesome. And we have leveled up. We've accomplished our first quest. And yeah, I think we're going to finish up the quest for that buddy there who's sitting at the altar here. We're going to do his quest, and then I think we're going to move on and start handling the story stuff. And that's all going to come next time. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video, everyone.